Mark, Bradford's final pre-season game of the season. What are your thoughts on run out against Leeds this afternoon?
Very similar to the Dewsbury run out. I think it was a real worthwhile exercise. I think it's shown us some good things, some bad things, and I think it's highlighted some areas that we need to be better at. But overall, I think it was a real worthwhile exercise, and pleased with what we got out of it.
Strong defensive performance in that first half at times.
It had to be, because we give him that much ball. You know, if you give a quality side like Leeds the ball that we did, then you're going to have to defend as well as we did. So, you know, they tried just before half time. I thought it was a little unfortunate, but was it unfortunate, or was it Leeds that was, you know, ruthless with their execution? So, yeah, little areas, but you know, overall we're all right. Some
of the things you've just said that you might not be happy with is that I think Leeds scored 2 tries on the back of either a penalty or an error.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look at the penalty count, because it were heavily against us, and I'm not about to criticise referees or anything. We'll look at ourselves first and foremost. So yeah, I thought there were a couple that were 50-50s that you know that was done for. But again, I'll have a look at that and digest that. I mean, the little bits of sloppiness, both offensively and defensively, are the ones that I wasn't too impressed with. But again, we'll have a look at them. There's absolutely no dramas whatsoever. We'll take from it what we can and build into next week.
I think I had the penalty count 11-5. Just one penalty to Bradford in the second half.
I hope you're right, because I had it the same.
There you go. On that first half, Mark, he started with Dec Patton and Tom Holmes. Your thoughts on that partnership?
Yeah, I thought they did all right. You know, I don't think they got the field position and the amount of ball that they wanted, but I thought they did all right, and I thought they needed the opportunity to have a go with each other, just as, you know, we played with different halves against Dewsbury. So the whole point of that was to try and see everybody, let everybody have enough time to express herself and stake a claim for next week.
Jack Walker, very lively.
Jack Walker's very lively. Yeah, he's a good player, isn't he? Yeah, he's. You know, he shows his quality at times, and you know, I think Jack's attention to detail is very, very good. So yeah, we're impressed with what he did. Came off after around about 55 minutes, and that was always the plan. So yeah, good stuff.
Do you feel a little bit hard done by with the AJ Wallace to Kieran Gill disallowed try?
Again, Mick, I'm not going to criticise referees in a pre-season trial. It's one of them. You know, the bloke's a lot closer to the action than me and you are, so he made the call. The call's what it is. I didn't think it was a forward pass, but I'm going to say that Chef probably just said it was. So, you know, it's one of them. It's not important. The fact that we brought Leeds down the way we did and was able to come up with that pass, you know, is the main focus for me.
Are you happy with the fitness?
Yeah, I thought we looked fit. You know, again, we've got some big minutes into some of our middles. I mean, Brad Foster there was, you know, massive again on his minutes on the field, and you know, again he's playing against the second best rugby league team in this country. So yeah, he's gone for massive minutes again and conducted himself really well. Great to get, you know, 55 minutes into Bodine Thompson. As I say, another 55 into Jack Walker. Yeah, boxes ticked in that area.
Second half, Mark, 6-6. You could probably say, didn't we have that white flag kept going right till the end? Again, probably a little bit unlucky with George Flanagan Jr.'s disallowed try.
Scores don't mean anything in pre-season trials. I know what you're saying, and you're right what you're saying. You know, we've built a lot of what we've done this year on, we call it the 4 E's. So effort, enthusiasm, excitement with and without the ball, and energy. I thought we saw that in abundance today. Even in the tough times where, as I say, a quality team like Leeds had a lot of ball and a lot of possession. Some of it due to our errors, some of it due to, you might say, indiscipline from giving penalties away. But nevertheless, they had the ball. For whatever reason, they had the ball. And, you know, we dug in and we stayed connected for the majority of the time. And we tried to solve the problem through defensive effort and energy, which, yeah, I'm very happy with.
Any injury concerns coming out of today's game?
No, everyone's fine.
That's a pleasing aspect of going into next week.
Mick, that's the most important thing in pre-season trials. You know, as coaches, we love to have a look at what we've practiced, you know, for the last 8 or 9 weeks. But I think every coach will say that they've got their fingers crossed and the toes crossed that everybody comes through pre-season trials unscathed. And yeah, it looks as in, unless something comes up that hasn't already, but it looks like we've managed to come through unscathed, which is really good.
In terms of you starting 17, you're 19 for a game against Whitehaven next week. How much of today and what you've seen today has cemented some positions and starting shirts?
Yeah, it has. It has. You know, again, we've had some young blokes out there, just like Leeds have today, and you know, they're at a different stage of the journey. They know that. Of the senior boys, some of what I've seen today has positively put them in the frame for next week, and some of what I've seen today has put a question mark on some people as well. And again, that'll stay confidential, but I probably know 13 or 14 of my 17 for next week.
Just final one from me. Obviously, there is a dual reg partnership between Leeds and Bradford. Obviously, you've had a look at some of those young Leeds players who probably aren't going to have to feature in the Super League week in, week out.
Yeah, I have and I haven't. You know, obviously, I've watched the game like everybody else has. I'll look back on that, but I won't look back on that until I've finished doing what I need to do for Bradford. So, you know, yeah, we've got a partnership, and you know, it's great. The two clubs are working really well together. But I need to look at Bradford first, and then, of course, I'll take a look at some of the guys that might be on the periphery. But you know, some of the guys that people think will be in that bracket. You know, there's a couple that have played today that might have played themselves out of that bracket and into Rowan's thoughts. So we'll see on that.
Mark, Mick mentioned Jack there, and obviously you know from last year there were odd games, sort of like say Whitehaven at home, York at home, where the attack looked really turgid, but Jack seems like a real unlocker. Is that something you were really looking for? It seems like he's got the hands, he can make the breaks to sort of get through defences, where maybe last year there were times when the back struggled to do that.
I think Jack's a quality rugby league player, you know, and he's played at the top level. He's been really unfortunate with injuries and things which have been well documented. But you know, Jack Walker can play rugby league, and it brings a new dimension to us. You know, we didn't have an out-and-out full-back at times last year, and any rugby league coach will tell you it's a lot easier to play with one and a couple of half-backs than it is to play without. So, yeah, I thought our offensive work and our offensive shape and structure looked good today, and we, as I say, we brought Leeds down at times.
Yeah, definitely. There were a few chances beyond the couple of tries, and obviously, like you mentioned, that unlucky one with AJ and Kieran. Obviously, AJ showed a few bright moments. So how big is it for you guys? I know he looked likely to go to Super League clubs with the win that fell through. How much of a positive you've got AJ Wallace for 2023?
Yeah, likely to go is a tricky one. I don't know if they were ever likely to go, but yeah, it was rumoured to go, and there was interest, of course there were. And again, there's going to be, because he's a quality rugby league player. But yeah, I thought we saw glimpses of what AJ's capable of, and the exciting thing about AJ and a bunch of our players in there is the excitement for me is the fact that there's so much development left in them. Yeah. You know, there's so much more we can get out of them as the season goes on, and as we roll in and become fluent with games week in, week out. So AJ falls into that bracket, but yeah, I thought it was good at times today. Yeah,
definitely. Now, speaking of the young lads, obviously George Flanagan Jr. had some really bad moments when he came on. Unlucky with that last bit at the end, and obviously he had that incident where he accidentally knocked the ball in the lad's face when he knocked on, which is pretty much his only error. I mean, takes us through down, I suppose, on that front. But the fact that George has got that spike about him, despite being such a young lad, that must be positive for you, that the young lads aren't, none of them shirk it, they can hold their own against men, if you like.
No, I disagree. Yeah, no, I disagree. You know, there's something internally that we've done this year that if you give a penalty away when we've got the ball, that's not okay. And consequently, every player that does it will be fined, so George will cop a fine for that. I thought it showed real good glimpses. You know, I thought the try in the corner would have been fitting for his efforts, but again, it was a call that was made. He made a lovely break, and he's getting some banter in the dressing room at the moment about being caught by a middle. Whether it was a middle that caught him, I don't know. But yeah, it showed glimpses of what he's about. It showed glimpses of his talent and his quality. But yeah, it doesn't need to be giving penalties away when we're in possession. And you know, I've already had that chat with him. Yeah,
that's fair enough. And obviously, speaking of young lads, obviously Leeds had a few of them themselves. And last year it was kind of largely a very young side that came to Odsal. This year obviously there was, particularly second half, but they also the likes of Reece Martin and Richie Martin are playing. How good was that for you, for your lads to be able to show up against lads like that have got such Super League experience and Super League regulars, it felt like probably a stronger Leeds team that played you than last year, and you probably got a better score against them, which I think that was a real positive, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I've just actually said to the players in there, if we'd have beat a young Leeds team comfortably today, it wouldn't have done anything for us. No. It'd have probably lulled some people into false sense of security and made them think things that they don't need to be thinking. So, you know, Rowan, Leeds, Chev, you know, the guys have all been respectful, put a respectful team out who, you know, have had a dig and you know, it's stood everybody in good stead. I think Leeds will get out of it what they need out of it. You know, I know they've got a couple more weeks before round one of the Super League, and it's certainly been a really good exercise for us that we needed as well.
Definitely. And obviously, you mentioned that you weren't going to risk anyone in pre-season, but obviously it's a real shame for Brad. England looked so bright in that opening friendly that he's obviously not featured the last two. How is Brad doing? Is it just a little knock that you don't want to risk, or is it something more serious?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen today's running water. You know, he's trotting about like Bambi, so he's got a bang on the ribs. It's a cartilage thing. There's no break in there. There's no long-term, you know, worries about it. If he'd have copped a bad shot on that, you know, area today, would it have made him doubtful for next week? Yeah, probably so. So, you know, that ability to have that longer rest period and let them ribs recover a little bit better was it was just a smart decision to make, I think, and one that we made early in the week, so we was well aware of it.
Fair enough. And then just finally from me then, Mark, obviously you've had the two friends. I know you obviously wanted the three. It was unfortunate no one could help last week. Do you feel undercut in any way? Are you pleased with what you got the two fellas in, feel ready for Whitehaven next week, the Championship?
Yeah, I mean, ideally we planned for four with Boxing Day that went amiss as well. So, you know, there's no complaints whether we're undercooked or not. It is what it is. We've known for long enough that Boxing Day wasn't going to happen, and you know, Mother Nature beat everybody, barring the guys on 4G last week. So we are where we're at. You know, I'm content with where we're at, and yeah, we're going to lick our wounds tonight. I've just said to the lads, enjoy a beer and the night with your families and whatever. And tomorrow morning starts the pulling that in bits and having a real in-depth look at it, and the preparations for Whitehaven, which is exciting.